Do or die. It's either now or never.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Fuel for Success, episode number 113. Good to see everybody here. Today, I wrote on the board it's June 6th as well because today is the 70th anniversary of the D-Day invasion at Normandy. Little American history buff here, so sort of an important date, June 6th, 1944. Um, anyway, so good to see everyone on here today. So good to see my friend and co-host, the one and only Matt Maddox. How are you this morning, Matt?
I'm doing good, my friend. I could sing a song. I'm doing so good. How are you, man? What's going on in Minnesota land, baby? Excited about this weekend. I'm excited about Fuel for Success today. One of our favorite topics we're going to be dealing with. You're going to be introducing that. But,
Yeah.
today's bittersweet. I'm leaving Florida today for about 3 weeks. So I'm kind of, fighting through a little sadness about that just because I love Florida. Like, for me to leave Florida for one day is ultimate sacrifice. I love where I live. I love my routine.
That's good, man.
I'm a routine type person. You know what I mean? So when I travel away from Florida, just always know it's ultimate sacrifice. It's not just a little bit of sacrifice, it's ultimate sacrifice. But the best news of the whole thing is Caleb is with me. So that makes it a whole lot easier. Looking forward to a little road trip with him. It's kind of always a summer tradition to head north. We usually do it in July, but we're doing it in June. Carol's giving, is that a smiley face from Carol or is that a sad face?
It's I'm not sure, frowny for some reason.
I'm
I don't.
assuming she meant to put a smile. That's what I'm going to believe. I'm going to believe the good in this situation, and I'm going to believe she meant to smile.
Yeah, I'm not so sure because they were out working on building some sidewalks in our backyards at sometime around 6:30 this morning. So she may have been a little upset about that. Not sure.
Did she?
Anyway, yeah, no, she's like, hey, isn't there a noise ordinance? I'm like, well, that's one of those things. We want it to get done, right? Um, we've been waiting a long time for it, so finally they're working on it. I'm like, just let them work. We want it
Oh,
done.
that's Mike for you. Mike is a peacemaker. Sherry said she's tired of suffering through the beach videos. And I completely understand. I'm fixing to suffer the next 3 weeks. There'll be no beach for me. So I took it all in last night. I stayed on the beach from, let's see, 7 p.m. till 11. I literally sat on a big, huge beach towel that I have with my iPad and I read. And I just sat there and thought and listened to the waves and just relaxed. It was amazing. It was amazing. I'm very refreshed now. I'm refueled. That's where I refuel, man. That's where I refuel.
It's good.
Heartaches are healed by
Hey,
the sea.
and so you're not going to be able to see the beach for a few weeks. Um, you could go to a
That's
lake
why
beach. Yeah, it's not the
I
same.
will. I will watch them videos every night. You know.
Hey, couple of quick things I just wanted to. You may have seen on social media. We're doing a thunderclap campaign for Mission 25, and what that is that we need 100 people to go sign up. It doesn't cost you anything. It's not going to cost you anything. But what thunderclap is on one day it blasts out a tweet or a Facebook post to tens of thousands of people, and we need about 21 more people to go on to that campaign and just sign up. Again, you just basically you're committing to send one post on June 11th, and that'll help us get the word about Mission 25 out. So I'm going to put the link up real quick, and would
She's
appreciate
sending it.
it.
That's the beauty of it. They're not actually the ones sending it. Thunderclap is sending it out to everybody, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's called like a crowd speaking platform. So you all sign up, and then on June 11th, automatically to everybody's followers, it just goes out, says, "Hey, I support mission trips in America and Mission 25, and here's the link." There's no financial ask. There's no any of that sort of thing. We're trying to get the word out and let people know. But right now, we've got about 80 people that have committed, and so that goes to almost 50,000 people that will see that. But we need to get to 100. Otherwise, it's an all or nothing sort of thing. So if we don't get to 100, it doesn't go out. I'll turn that up
They
in
said
just a second here.
quiet today.
Yeah.
Karen did. Am I not talking loud enough? What's the problem here?
I may be loud as well. So sometimes we got to balance out the audio.
You were a little quiet, but I'll try to talk a little louder. Now Betsy's yelling at me. Mike,
Yeah.
listen, this goes back to the law of fair exchange. I believe in this. In fact, I believe it's probably one of the only ways that God blesses people. I think a lot of people overlook the law of fair exchange. Friends, Mike and I, every single morning at 9 a.m., we come and we sit down and we impart practical training and teaching and principles to you. And there's absolutely no cost to this. And so if Mike and I ask you to maybe post something on Facebook and you get value from this show, well, you need to apply the law of fair exchange and you need to give value back. And so when Mike's asking here, it doesn't cost money. It's what it is it's a way to help spread the message of Mission 25 out to Mike. What's the potential reach of this?
It could potentially be millions.
Really,
right now,
really potentially get to millions of people on social media. And as all of you know, millions need to find out about Mission 25. So this is one way that we're utilizing technology to help spread the message. So really do post this. Mike, tell them to click the link there. If you're watching on the archive later, click it. It literally takes probably less than 20 seconds to do it.
Yeah, very simple. Very simple. You click the link and then you can choose to support it with.
Today is law of fair exchange. That's your words for the day. Just think about that because we'll probably talk about it next Thursday. Thank you, Janice did it. Thank you, Sherry did it. So Mike, how you feeling, man? You got your coffee? It's Friday. Talk to me. What's going on? Did you have breakfast?
I haven't had breakfast yet. My wife and I actually went to a ministry launch last night for our good friends Pat and Tiffany Zastro. And Pat's actually been on the show. He was a guest on One Family and Relationship. And if you haven't seen that episode, I don't remember what episode it was, but he was a powerful guest. He talked about his marriage nearly ended, and there was God really did a miraculous thing in his marriage and saved his marriage. And anyway, so we went to a ministry launch party last night. It was amazing. It's a powerful, it's a pro-life ministry that's based on the love of Jesus instead of confrontation and conflict. And it's an amazing thing. And we'll maybe have him back on to talk about it at some point. But so yeah, we did that.
I actually saw a picture that Carol posted on Facebook last night of Pat.
Yeah.
And I literally said to myself, I'm going to support this guy. I don't know him. I've never met him in my life. I want to meet him. I'm going to meet him in August. I'm actually going to monthly support him because I believe in the cause of what he's doing. So this is something that all of us should be actively looking for. If the more blessed you want to be, the more you have to give. So find causes that you can support, whether it's a one-time or whether it's monthly. I'm probably supporting right now maybe 10 different causes a month, and I continuously see blessings in my life as a result. Tupelo Children's Mansion, Lighthouse Ranch for Boys, a couple of missionaries, a couple of home missionaries, a couple of other ministries, and usually, like, what was it? 2 days ago, a young couple posted or sent me an inbox. Their boy has autism and there's some kind of procedure that has to be done that costs like $10,000. I don't even think about it, Mike. It's an automatic, absolutely. I think more of us need to be that way. I really do. I think so many times on social media, because we're all so busy, we see causes, and because we're so used to just scrolling through our news feeds, that we don't really stop and say, wait a minute, God is leading me to support this cause. Don't forget, the reason that you have is because you give. You don't give because you have because you give. So always find causes and support them. Like a guy like what Pat's doing, I admire. I admire a man that would step out like that and help minister to young moms that are thinking about committing or having abortions, or those that have already gone through the pain of an abortion. So definitely a cause I believe in. So I would even love to have Pat back on the show again one day.
Yeah, we should do that for sure. Um, Hey, well, today is Friday, and just like every Friday, we talk about family and relationships, and we've got some questions that have come in from viewers. You got something else? Go ahead.
I have a question. Who's got Carol's phone? Is Danny? Does Danny borrow her phone? She just said I was awesome. There's who's got Carol's phone right now?
I'm not sure.
Hallelujah. Thank you, Amber, for the plug. And yeah, support Mission 25. Absolutely. It's definitely a cause that's worth supporting. You'll be blessed. Yeah, Mike. So, like you said, just like every Friday. I mean, every Friday. What do we do?
Family and relationships. We're going to talk about family and relationships today. So we've got some questions that have come in from viewers in the past, text, email, that sort of thing. And if you have a question you want to ask about family and relationships this morning, by all means, go ahead and ask, and we'll try to get to it as quick as we can. I've got one that came in from one of our viewers, Matt, and it's kind of a tough question, but I think you're up for it. Um, One of our viewers sent in a question. She's a divorced mom, and there's some conflict between her and her ex-husband. The father of the kids, are sort of coaching the kids that they don't have to listen to her, and that her rules aren't, important. And so, how can she handle this situation with the father of the kids without undermining her own authority, right? And without necessarily being negative towards the father, those sort of things. A tough real life situation. What are your thoughts on this?
Let me say this, okay? This is a tough situation. It's like what I teach my son. Son, there's a lot of things that are going to happen in your life that you cannot control. You can't. It's unfortunate. Sometimes just bad things happen. Sometimes we all have things that are not perfect that we struggle with, situations that are not the best situations. Case in point, okay? Um, because my son is going with me this summer on this ministry trip, he's missing like 3 weekends of all-star baseball. That's tough on him, right? It's really tough. I mean, he's agonizing over it because this is the funnest time. It's his 12-year-old year. It's his last year before they go to the big field, and these are 3 tournaments that are huge tournaments. And I was explaining to him the other day. I said, Caleb, that's the part about life that sometimes our own life circumstances are literally out of our control, you know. And so the only reason I said that is to say, for whoever wrote this, I'm sorry, because that is not fun. It's not fair. It's not right. It's not easy. Okay. But what I would say is 3 things. Number one, in this situation, you have got to make the choice to become the extremely positive parent, to offset this negative energy and this negative spirit. Okay. You have to make the choice to be the better person here. You've got to make the choice to take the high road, and you've got to make the choice not to stoop to his level. You have got to literally, let me tell you about kids. I've learned it, I've watched it with my own eyes. Kids know, listen, kids are automatically going to know which parent is right and which parent is wrong. You don't need to defend yourself. You literally don't. Your life and your example and your attitude will speak more to your kids than any negative word that an ex-husband or an ex-wife can speak against you. Listen, the world could turn against me. The world could turn against me right now. And it wouldn't matter to my son because I've built that consistency of example and living it in front of him that nobody, whether it would be my ex whether it would be maybe one of my ex's relatives, none of that would sway him. So I want to encourage you to know that you're going to be okay. You really are if you choose to be the better person and you be positive. And then the second thing I would say real quick is I know this is going to sound cliche, but let God fight your battles in this situation. I can't tell you how many times I've turned something over to God and said, okay, God, this is not easy for me because I could defend myself in this situation and be right, but I'm not going to. I'm going to choose to literally turn this over to you, and I'm going to let you fight this battle. And I can't tell you how many times in these types of situations, I wish I could share more, but I obviously, I got to be careful about what I share right out here out on public here. But how many times that I literally have let God fight the battle and God fought the battle. Like the Bible says, if you humble yourself in the sight of the Lord, he will lift you up. Then the third thing I would say is don't retaliate. Don't start speaking against the ex to your kids just to, retaliate. Don't have a retaliation spirit or a revengeful spirit. Like I said, stay humble, stay positive, keep being the better person, keep choosing the humble road, and let God fight your battles. And I promise you, you will come out shining like gold. I promise you, you will.
It's good advice. I like that. Remember that one of the definitions of meekness is power under control. And even though you have the ability to speak against the other person, you have the ability to defend yourself. A meek person wouldn't necessarily do that, and that's leaving that control in God's hands. So I like what you said there. Good stuff. Um,
Thank
to
you.
my to run my other computer with my wrong mouse. Technology problems. Hey, let me jump
Meekness
to
is
our.
power under control.
Hey, if I'm watching this show today and I'm thinking, I have pretty good relationships, but I really want to go to the next level and have the healthiest relationships I can have. What would you say are three traits I need to possess um, to be able to have healthy relationships in my life?
3 traits that you need to have to possess to have healthy relationships. Let's say, okay, well, to have healthy relationships, you got to be a healthy person, right? So I would say the number one trait. Again, these aren't in order; these are just quickly off the top of my head here. One trait would be that you need to have good, positive self-worth. Mike, people that don't respect and love themselves will not have healthy relationships. I'm going to say that one more time. They're saying they can't hear me, Mike. Is that just David or is that?
It must be just
Can
David.
everybody
I can hear you
else
fine.
say yes? Yay! Mike, people that don't love and respect themselves will not be able to maintain and sustain healthy relationships. That's one trait. Another trait is honesty, because whenever there's a lack of honesty, then there's a lack of intimacy. And when there's a lack of intimacy, there can be no deep relationship. Then that's where relationships become shallow. When you start hiding things, when you start deceiving, when you start becoming dishonest, even in small areas, like you have to commit to your relationships a complete, transparent honesty. And honesty is not easy, but honesty is healthy. And then the third trait is the ability to communicate. Mike, let's be real about it. Let's just call it the way it is.
Yeah.
Communication is the life and death of any relationship. Where there's good communication, there's safety, there's trust, there's openness, there's no misunderstandings, there's no bitterness, there's no grudges, there's no a lack of expectations being met or a lack of needs being met. Like communication solves everything. So I think in a relationship, um, whatever type of relationship you're talking about, you take these 3 things, you're going to become a healthier person, and in turn, have healthier relationships. What's your take, Mr. Mike?
It always comes down to communication, and I think to get healthier relationships and to become better at, something that I actually thought this morning. I was reading, and Proverbs 25:11 says, "A word fitly spoken is like apples of gold and pictures of silver." And as I thought about that, and I'm a gun owner and that sort of thing. I don't know if you've ever seen like the ornate sort of carved, engraved, fancy shotguns or whatever that have like a silver metal, and it's like all engraved in a fancy. Maybe there's a picture of a pheasant flushing over a field, and that silver picture has just like little inlays of gold that sort of highlight it. And that's what I think of when I read that proverb is like an engraved, inlaid picture in silver with just little gold highlights that just really bring out, that really make that picture pop. And I think of those apples of gold, and what a word fitly spoken, is the biggest part of that, of having a word fitly spoken, is listening. It's like if you walked up to a silver engraving and you had a piece of gold, how valuable is that gold? But if you just go up and stick it on somewhere, it doesn't help the picture at all. It might destroy the picture. But if you sit there and study the picture and say, okay, where do I need to highlight? Where do I need to put this little bit of gold that I have? And then you find the exact right place and you just fit it right in there, then it makes the picture come alive. And that's what a word fitly spoken is. But we can't get there until we study and listen and find the place to fitly speak that word. And so that is like a concept of communication that we really need to take to heart. Listen and find where we're going to speak the word. Sometimes we have the right words, but we just speak them out of turn and not in the right place, and out of context.
Mike, the visualization you just gave is one of the most powerful I've ever heard, ever. I've heard that scripture talked about 100 times. I've never heard it talked about in that light. The light bulbs went off for me, totally went off for me about the value and we don't slow down. Mike, we don't slow down enough to communicate. You ready for this? You know what I do? I motivate, okay? I inspire. I'm always, right? My son a couple of weeks ago had one of the worst weekends he's ever had in baseball.
Mm.
He just wasn't on. He went like he didn't have good hits. It just was his worst ever, okay? He was so discouraged. I've never seen him so discouraged because he worked so hard. There's nothing more discouraging to work so hard and to fail. I mean, the kid had worked hard.
It's tough.
And literally, Mike, the first 10 minutes, I'm under my breath saying, God, give me wisdom. God, give me wisdom. Now, I could have just rattled off because I know so much about motivation in baseball,
Right.
but the right thing needed to be said at that moment. So I said, Caleb, I said, you know what? Why don't you just take a few minutes and just relax? The game was intense. I said, let dad just kind of get my thoughts together because he kept asking me, Dad, what's wrong? What's wrong? And I didn't want to say the wrong thing because I knew this was a moment right here. I knew this was more than just baseball. And I knew at that moment, Mike, but that word picture, what you gave about how do you say that scripture again?
Word fitly spoken is like apples of gold and pictures of silver.
Yeah. But the analogy, the word picture. But after 10 minutes of saying probably 15 times, God, give me wisdom, God, give me wisdom, I finally spoke. Just yesterday, probably 3 times since that speech 2 weeks ago, Caleb told me it was the most defining speech of his entire life. In fact, he's a different kid. He's so different right now in a good way. He even told me the other night, he said, Dad, I will literally write in my book about that day you gave me that talk. It wasn't me. It was that I paused instead of just giving the natural, like, right? I knew what to say. I could have just, bam. But I think too many of us, like you said, we don't slow down and really like make sure we're saying the right thing. And I think that's why we destroy a lot of relationships because what's the Bible say? Swift to hear, slow to
Slow to
speak.
speak.
How many of
Yeah.
us are slow to speak? We're not.
Yeah, and Betsy's asking, do I think sometimes it's because of the pressure of everything going on at that moment? Absolutely. And like Matt said, sometimes we got to just slow down. It's very easy to say, the easy thing, or to say the cliche thing, or we a lot of times speak in colloquialisms without even thinking about it. And I'll oftentimes, if I don't have time to meditate on something, consider it, like really consider it, a lot of times I'll just not say anything. That's, my personality too, but I think there's a lot of sometimes a lot of pressure, especially if you're involved in ministry in any way. Sometimes there's pressure to like solve the problem, like say something. And we can a lot of times say the wrong thing just out of a need or a pressure to make something happen right now.
Mm, that's very powerful, man. Um, Julie had actually lost her husband last year, and she was sharing some of, we ought to have her on the show one day and have her tell her story because that's not an easy thing. A
Yeah.
tragic death, literally just like a sudden tragic death. So prayers for her today. I know that's not easy. She was opening up a little bit about how amazing her husband was and how he made it safe for her to be able to open up and communicate. Mike, somebody had actually texted in a question, said, I have a hard time communicating verbally. I keep a lot in. I can write all day about it. Is there a good book that I could read to help with verbal communication, right?
Mm, good
Uh,
question.
and that's good. I know a lot of people that don't know how to share their feelings. They don't know how to open up, and a lot of that is because of what happened in childhood. A lot of it could have been a bad marriage, or maybe someone that really broke their spirit or hurt them. So a lot of times people have a hard time expressing, their feelings. So what I'm going to say to this question right now is, I don't have a book off the top of my head. It's one of the first times I don't, because I don't want to give the wrong one, because this is something that's a big issue in a lot of people's lives. So I will promise to have a book. I'll look on my shelf. I'll think about it today while I'm driving, and I'll bring a suggestion next Friday. Um, Mike, anything I missed? Like people have a hard time because this is real. People have a hard time expressing. Even like I know some parents still have a hard time literally telling their kids they love them. Like it's hard for them. I can't even fathom because I like tell the people in the drive-through love you. They're
Yeah,
like, hey,
he
free week.
does.
I'm like, man, love you, man, thank you. They're like, it's just such like. So anyway, um, any thoughts, my friend?
Well, this is actually a pretty broad topic about, people that aren't effective verbal communicators. It could be that they have a hard time opening up. It could be that they have a hard time literally communicating, right? I mean, maybe they're open to sharing their feelings and they just have a really hard time getting it across. Um, so there's a couple of different facets to problems with verbal communication, and one of the things that I see some people do, just they'll that not necessarily that are closed, but that they're open to communication, but they're not effective at it, is that they're in too much of a hurry, and I think that stems from a lot of times people are in their past maybe. Actually, I see this a lot in kids. We do a lot of work with kids at Community Connection and different things that we do. And kids I see that want to communicate to me, they talk so fast because they think they're only going to get about 10 seconds of my time. And
Oh,
so they're trying to tell me everything as fast as they can. And I see adults do that too. And I think that stems from a childhood or experiences where they had a very limited amount of attention from someone that was important in their life. But I would encourage people in verbal communication to just slow down, right? And sometimes depth of covering a topic is more important than breadth of topics. That would be my advice.
absolutely, man. I just had a funny moment. I can't even explain it. I just had a funny moment, but
That happens.
it happens sometimes. Um, but what you were saying was powerful. I will tell you that. I listened to every word. When Mike, it's one of those things. It's Friday. Have a great day. We had a great show. I hope we were a blessing to some people today. There were more topics actually. Mike, give a few of the other questions that came in just to maybe show them what's coming up next Friday.
Sure. We're going to talk about how can you communicate with and establish boundaries with other family members, in-laws, and so forth. That's a real life difficult
Woo!
situation. Establishing
Huge.
boundaries. Uh,
You ladies, all you wives that are married to mama's boys, I'm gonna help you next Friday.
and then also coming up is what should someone do if their teenager starts to date the wrong person? Yeah.
Ouch. We're gonna deal with that next Friday too. What do you do when your teenager starts dating the wrong people? Or also help the daddy's girls, help the husbands who are married to a daddy's girl that's always getting in the way and trying to make every decision. Oh yeah, my friend, boundaries. You
I'm
gotta protect your marriage.
I'm gonna give
What's that,
real
Mike?
I'm gonna give real life practical advice to fathers on how to intimidate potential boyfriends.
Yeah, yeah. Share that. Bring a gun with.
Yeah, son, that's a 40 Smith and Wesson. You ever seen one of those? Anyway,
All I, God must have known I don't have a daughter because Mike, I would. I'd be done. God must know.
yeah, that's good. Hey, I appreciate everyone being here with us today. It's been a great show, Matt.
Mike, Karen's saying that you're intimidating.
I think she was talking about my gun wielding thing there. I don't think I'm
We love
intimidating.
you, Mike. I love you, my friend. I appreciate you, and I appreciate everyone that watched live today. God bless you guys. Sad that this is over. We're not going to be together again until Monday. You'll be seeing next Monday. You won't see my bookshelves. I gotta leave Florida right now. Help!
You're gonna be okay. It's
Help!
gonna be all right.
I love you.
Travel safe, my friend. We'll see you all Monday. God bless.
I'll be calling.
All right.